experience in engineering and technology-driven solutions with a focus on applying digital and advanced computational tools in the engineering applications. Her professional interests include the integration of artificial intelligence and data-driven approaches in engineering workflows, process optimization, and decision support systems. Through her work at TCE, she has contributed to multidisciplinary projects involving innovation, sustainability, and digital transformation in the engineering practice. Today, she is going to give a talk on AI applications in the engineering design.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, madam, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you so much for the very nice introduction. And now I'll start with the presentation. I'm not switching on the video because it could lead to some lag. At the end of the presentation, I'll switch on the video. I
No
hope
problem.
it is okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
It is visible, madam.
Yeah. Welcome to presentation on artificial intelligence in engineering design. I was just wondering regarding your academic syllabus, because when I heard about your professors talking about AI yesterday, I was really very happy to understand that they were really far ahead and they knew most of the industrial applications. In fact, I was glad that one of your professors said that the CEO of an organization could also be replaced by AI. And there was a beautiful
पासवर्ड जो बाकी अकाउंट का है ना वही होना चाहिए, इनको लॉगिन करके देखने बोलो। और ये भी ऐसे ही है, वो टीसेक केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग डिपार्टमेंट सेम नहीं।
Madam, you can continue.
Yeah. So today my presentation will give you an overview of AI applications. I'll start with a brief introduction about Tata Consulting Engineers, famously referred to as TCE, an introduction to artificial intelligence in engineering design, amalgamation of AI in engineering operations, AI applications in engineering and construction, generative AI framework and techniques, and how we leverage AI in industrial applications, and a few case studies followed by Q&A session. So Tata's, we started early back in 1962. There were two power plants built by Ebasco Engineering Consultancy of America. And Tata started thinking we need to build a fourth plant also to cater to the power requirement. So Tata joined hands with Ebasco Consulting Engineering Services and opened a company called Tata Ebasco Consultancy Services in the year 1962. That's where our journey began. We are a 60-year-old organization with a strength of 7,500 plus, executing 12,000 plus projects globally, amounting to $35 billion. And being India's largest pure play engineering consultancy, we provide concept to commissioning services, which includes concept, feed, plan, design, and project management also. And our motto is to engineer a better tomorrow, powered by passionate engineers, architects, technologists, and project managers. Tatas are known as Saltus Software Conglomerate. Right? We also are involved in all the fields of design engineering. Like we are into design of power plants, chemical plants, then infrastructure building. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, madam.
I'm hearing some background noise, so I was wondering, like,
Huh.
okay.
Someone get mute. I will control that. Okay. Continue, madam. No problem.
Okay. So whenever we need to build a plant, we start with option selection. For example, when we go into the process of a power plant, if we need a combined cycle power plant producing, say, 800 megawatts of power, we'll have to think whether I go for a gas turbine generator, steam turbine generator, and then HRSG, or a combination of all the three, or maybe one GT, two ST, and two HRSG combinations. All these option selections will be done by TCA depending on the on multiple factors like the location, availability of resources like gas or coal in the area, etc. And then the site selection. Site selection plays a very important role in project engineering because we need to have enough space to put the plant. In addition, our regulatory rules are very strict nowadays. We need to maintain some green area. There should be proper water disposal methods, etc. We also work on procurement support, design optimization, wherein artificial intelligence comes into picture, and then the vendor drawing review and site execution support. You can see the curve here, which says we do everything from ideating to commissioning, including the construction supervision. We have our offices across continents in US, UK, Sweden, Netherlands, France, Saudi, Nepal, Philippines, Indonesia, Australia, and of course in India we have our centers of excellence. In Delhi, we have the Infrastructure Business Unit Center of Excellence. Kolkata, we have the Mining and Metallurgy Center of Excellence. Bangalore, we have the Power Business Unit Center of Excellence. In Mumbai, we have the Hydrocarbon and Chemical Business Unit Center of Excellence. And here are our clients. We deal with almost all international clients and Indian clients available in the market, whether it's Indorama, Adani, GE in India, Delim, Lotte, POSCO, Samsung, and then Siemens, GE, and so on. Coming to our iconic projects, since we are a 60-year-old organization, we have executed a number of projects. A few of them are shown here. We started in 1965, the 150 megawatt Trombay Unit 4, which was the largest thermal power unit in India at that time, was executed. It featured a very compact layout with very high steam parameters, multi-fuel firing capabilities, and the nation's first electrostatic precipitator. Then in 1971, we have the equatorially mounted parabolic radio telescope, which is an impressive structure spanning 530 meters in length and standing 30 meters tall. The telescope is relevant even today and is used for astrophysical study and heliospheric study. In 1979, we built Asia's biggest water treatment plant at Bandup in Mumbai. It has a number of reservoirs, transmission mains, 7 underground tunnels spanning 12 kilometers with diameters between 3 to 3.6 meters with wireless telemetry and SCADA systems. And in the year 1984, we built the first 500 megawatt thermal power unit in India, Trombay units 5, 6, and 7. You can have a visit also here. It's a beautiful design. And India's first flue gas desulfurization unit was built. In fact, government is trying to make it mandatory to have flue gas desulfurization units now in India, which was implemented long back. And then Asia's biggest 2.3 meter diameter optical telescope is built at Kowloon. In 1988, we had India's tallest chimney of 275 meters for the 500 megawatt thermal power unit, again in Trombay. And then the first operator training simulator was built for 200 megawatt as well as a 500 megawatt plant for Trombay. This simulator was a full scope replica of the original plant with all the controls and indications mirroring the actual control panel. Now we talk a lot about digital twins. This operator training simulator is nothing short of a digital twin, and it was built in the year 1989. Then we have the world's largest steerable radio telescope, the Giant Meter Wave Radio Telescope, which has 30 dishes and 40 with 45-meter dia each, and India's longest 3.5-kilometer length sewage disposal system built in 1994. This system is unique in the sense it has submarine tunnels with high capacity underground pumping stations and environment friendly aerated lagoons. Then the India's first marine outfall undersea tunnel was built in 1995, and India's first 800 kV 405-kilometer transmission line. This is a very lengthy transmission line. It was built by us. And then this is an amazing technology wherein we never thought that we could have a barge mounted combined cycle power plant. This was built in Tanir Bavi. This is unique in the sense it utilized ballast tanks for stability during floods. And it also featured gas turbine generators with inlet air chilling to enhance the efficiency. And it incorporates the aircraft technology, and the plant has a 42% fuel efficiency, which is very high for a gas-based power plant. Then we have India's first 300 MLD WTP with Pulsita and Akaza V filters in 2003, Asia's largest influent sewage pumping station in 2004, and India's first 800 megawatt supercritical thermal plant was built in Mundra. This plant has 5 units, that is 800 into 5, 4000 megawatt. It's an ultra mega power plant. The unique feature of this plant is it has a common centralized control room for all the 5 units, which is a pioneering solution in power plant design, because a person sitting in the control room can visualize all the 5 units in the plant and do the dynamic and play around with the dynamics and think of more automation common for all the 5 units. Coming to metallurgy, we have the 3 MTPA expansion at Tata Steel Coke Oven byproduct plant built in 2012. And this is one of the unique project with ITER France. This is International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, which is a revolutionary venture in sustainable energy involving 7 countries, including India. And it epitomizes a significant stride towards harnessing nuclear fusion to meet global energy demands. In fact, right now we have around 80 of our engineers located in France working on this project. And then we are partnered with ISRO for the GSLV launch for the umbilical cord unit. We were involved in the solid propellant rocket production system and introduced innovative engineering automation for handling explosives for the ISRO GSLV launch. In 2020, we further worked on it and innovated by creating a fail-proof mechanism for the quick retraction of umbilicals in satellite launch vehicles, which is a critical aspect for launch operations. And then we have worked on 14 smart cities and Amrit cities. And most of you will be aware of the India's unique project with 1,000 years design life, which is the Ram Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra of Ayodhya. This was a very challenging project for us because of the longevity of 1,000 years. Plus, we needed to reuse whatever was already available, whatever was left of the Ram temple. TCA optimized the structural stability of this system while adhering to traditional construction techniques, using minimal cement, and mostly here tongue and groove joints are used for structural elements. And the entire foundation is roller compacted concrete in the foundation, and steel is not used here. And we used advanced technologies like 3D structural analysis and 4D modeling, and our own project planning softwares like Primavera and MS Projects, which improve the project management process, allowing real-time visibility and proactive issue resolutions. And then we built the India's largest Prime Minister Awas Yojana in a single city in Navi Mumbai, developing approximately 89,777 flats. We are also instrumental in India's first high-speed railway project, stretching 508 kilometers from Ahmedabad to Mumbai. Here, the TCA-led consortium, together with two Indian companies and a Japanese consultancy, TCAP, secured the project management consultancy for civil works in a competitive bid. And then in 2022, ventured into more sustainable projects like the world's largest green ammonia project in Oman, and India's first hydrogen fueling station in Ladakh was engineered by us. We are mission partners for Chandrayaan-3, and then we have engineered India's first semiconductor plant at Tirunelveli and the first solar PV glass plant in India. Last year, we acquired an organization called CDA Engineering Solutions of USA. CDA has been in the field for 75 years and has provided innovative services to chemical and energy sectors. CDA has built a reputation for excellence in both traditional and emerging energy markets, including battery materials, carbon capture, and low or zero carbon fuels. All these, I was talking about the Center of Excellence, which we have. This is supported by a lot of by a lot of tools available as a part of a knowledge management system. We have Tech Expert, wherein the experts answer the queries. We have Tech Pride, wherein people are allowed to showcase with pride their achievements or something new which they have done in the projects. We have the Value Addition Innovation Portal, templatization. All the books, periodical standards are available online in our organization, and so on. The most important AI tool we have is TechHive, which is an artificial intelligence powered knowledge management tool. And coming to digital ecosystem, as I told you earlier, we make a lot of drawings to have a real view in 3D and 4D. We use the help of softwares, and we have collaborations with SAP, Power BI, Cadmatic, Autodesk, Bentley, Aveva, Siemens, CrowdStrike, and Hexagon. In addition to India and US, we have local offices in Abu Dhabi, Saudi, UK, and all, wherein we are working with many of our partners. This I've explained earlier. Concept to commissioning, all the services we offer, whether it's design engineering activities, commissioning support, construction supervision, or pre-project activities for securing the jobs. We serve power industry, including nuclear. Now, small modular reactors are being talked about a lot and should be implemented shortly. We are into hydroelectric plants, pump storage plants, the renewables like solar, wind power, the thermal energy, the coal-based plants, gas-based plants, transmission and distribution of electric power, and advanced facilities like energy transition, wherein we have battery energy storage systems, green hydrogen, nuclear fusion, etc. We also cater to hydrocarbon and chemical industry, wherein we work on green and sustainable chemicals, specialty chemicals, refineries and petrochemicals, agrochemicals and fertilizers, and advanced facilities. In fact, Asia's largest fertilizer plant is designed by us, and Asia's largest paint manufacturing facility 1,50,000 and 3 lakh KLP is built by us. The first bank currency rolling paper mill in India for Reserve Bank of India was designed by us. And we also created a first dedicated engineering center to serve an alliance partner for a petrochemical major in Saudi Arabia. In mining and metallurgy, we are into ferrous, non-ferrous metals, mineral beneficiation, and advanced facilities. In infrastructure, we have worked widely on water and wastewater treatment plants, sewage treatment plants, built environment like our hospitals and buildings, soft technology parks, transportation like roadways and airports. We are into that part of the infrastructure also. And then sustainable infrastructure like green buildings, smart cities, Amrit Project Smart Cities, and we are into advanced facilities depending on the client's requirement. Recently, we worked on drone design of anti-drone system for government also. Then coming to sustainability and energy transition solutions, we are into clean and renewable energy, as I told you earlier, green infrastructure, green fuels and chemicals, green steel and cement, energy transition technologies. Then coming to digital and advanced, we have 3D, 4D and 5D simulations using ANSYS, etc. Building information management systems, asset digitization and asset information management, then machine monitoring systems, computerized machine monitoring, condition monitoring systems, Industry 4, now we are into Industry 5, and asset performance management, product engineering, design and analysis, and turnkey machine development. These are a few of our international and national clients. And these are the few awards which we received from across the world. TC, I'm proud to say that I'm working for one of the safest companies, innovative company, and a good risk management company too. Can I have a short break, please? Meanwhile, you can ask me any questions.
What happened, madam?
Sir, I thought I'll have a short break if you have any queries regarding the basics of artificial intelligence.
Student, you can ask your queries relevant with the topic. Huh?
Yeah.
Any queries from student side or faculty?
Okay, can I restart then if there are no
Yes, yes.
queries?
No, madam.
Since yesterday we have been talking about artificial intelligence and its applications. We are talking about Gen AI, agentic AI, and so on. Now I would like to brush up the basics. Like what is artificial intelligence? It is the ability of a machine or a computer program to think and learn and act like humans. It's not sufficient if AI has only the data, like we keep telling data analytics, vast amount of data is there means I can implement an artificial intelligence into the system. It's not so. It also requires visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translational languages. It should be able to understand the languages too. Like if I speak in English, my AI should be able to understand, or in Hindi. Now, of course, multilingual AIs are available in the market. And AI makes it possible for machines to learn from experience, adjust to new inputs, and perform human-like tasks. And AI uses different complex algorithms and learns from tremendous amount of data which is fed by the humans themselves. And the robust part of AI is that it can acquire a pattern from historical data to solve a problem with very high accuracy. AI in engineering design is not just a trend. It's a necessity to stay competitive, innovative, and aligned with the future industry demands. Artificial intelligence enhances creativity. It helps to make new designs, innovative design tools to explore beyond the traditional methods. It also helps in optimization of performance. It improves the plant efficiency or the equipment efficiency, or it could also give a different perspective for the product design to improve the efficiency through simulation and predictive analytics. And one most common application of artificial intelligence is it automates repetitive tasks. Like if you have this is particularly useful in case of machine assembly lines, wherein the same work has to be repeated again and again and again. And AI also drives sustainability because we can develop eco-friendly designs and minimize the energy consumption, aligning with the global environmental goals and sustainability initiatives. And using AI, we can have a precise output and a repeated output. It will not even budge by 0.1% or so. You feed the system like I want this product with this dimension, you get the output like that only. At least when we do it manually, there could be an error of 1 mm or 2 mm or so. In engineering industry, they offer numerous benefits across different domains like design and optimization. We can use AI for simulation and modeling. Yesterday, I think one professor from IIT explained this beautifully regarding the simulation and modeling, manufacturing and production, AI-driven robots and automation improve efficiency in manufacturing process, reduce errors and enhance production speed also. And then in the supply chain management, AI assists in optimizing the supply chain operations by predicting the demand, managing the inventory, and improving the logistics. In structural health monitoring, the sensor data combined with machine learning algorithms can detect structural issues and predict health of structures such as bridges and buildings which are inaccessible. In case of energy management, we have smart grids and energy management systems which use artificial intelligence to balance the energy supply and the demand efficiently so that there are no losses in the production or during the end user consumption. And then coming to environmental impact, AI helps in environmental modeling, analysis, and monitoring, helping engineers address challenges related to climate change and sustainability. AI offers a wide range of benefits across multiple domains like automation of repetitive tasks, smart decision making, because you already know what had happened before. While you have the history, you can have multiple answers. Like if you do this, what will happen? You have the results of the history also, what you have done before. So using this analysis, you can have a very smart decision making feature. And it helps in solving complex problems, minimizes human errors, and it enhances collaboration and knowledge management. And AI-driven systems are available 24/7. So you can simply put it on auto mode and maybe sleep for some time also. And AI tools are generally built with enhanced safety. When it comes to engineering design, AI has a significant impact on engineering design by enhancing various aspects of the design process. For example, here you can see the picture of a skid. It has helium buffer vessels feed helium atmospheric heat exchangers, compressors, cryogenic condensers, absorbers, heat exchangers, and then the inert nitrogen electric heater, and so on. If you need to build this kit, you can manually keep on drawing in AutoCAD or something like that. It takes a lot of time. And then you will not be like, if you want to delete something and add something also, it requires more time. Whereas in case of generative design, AI algorithms can generate the design options. Like it can tell you, you put the secondary cryogenic condenser here, or you can move it to a different location, and what will be the impact on this kit, whether it will be balanced, because the structure also needs to be balanced depending on the weight and the fluid dynamics. And then it helps in simulation and analysis. It helps in simulating and analyzing the complex engineering systems, how what can be connected and what should be the interface between the various systems within the skid. And then it also helps in design optimization. For example, if you want to reduce the space, if you want to make the layout a bit more compact, and you try with AI, what exactly can I do? Can I shift one block this side or that side? It gives suggestions based on the history, whatever or human feed, whatever is entered already. It also helps in error detection and correction and collaborative design assistance. Since you might have made similar skids for different clients, it also helps in comparative study and optimization of the skid design. Coming to engineering construction, it helps in understanding and implementing the regulatory guidance and in proposal making. For example, if you want to estimate how much amount of sand is required, how much amount of cement is required, what is the amount of steel required to construct a building, AI tools are available in the market which help in the proposal making. Like it helps in determination of the quantity based on which you can calculate the amount or the money required. Then it is an autonomous expert. Single-handedly, it can help you in doing a lot of activities, cost estimations. Then we have project and construction management and planning management too. And then risk management. In any construction business, there'll be a risk. Like sometimes the raw material may not be available due to some supply chain problem, or there may be non-availability of the laborers. So how to mitigate the risk? So the planning tool helps in risk management in this case. And then it also helps in project bidding and preventive maintenance. Coming to the basic artificial intelligence framework and techniques, see this diagram, the central diagram explains visually how different fields within artificial intelligence relate to each other. The outer circle is the artificial intelligence. This is the broadest category, which includes all techniques enabling machines to perform tasks requiring human-like intelligence. Then we have the machine learning, which is a subset of AI focused on systems that learn patterns from data and improve over time. One of the simplest example is your gas geyser at home for machine learning. You'll have a small red color light in your gas geyser if you notice. When the water gets heated, when you switch on the geyser, water gets heated, there'll be a small RTD, resistance temperature detector, which is basically a temperature sensor, which measures the temperature of water in the geyser, and it cuts off the power supply to the geyser when the set temperature is reached. This is one example of the simplest control. In similar way, like when the water is very cold, still the temperature sensor will sense the temperature to the set point and cut off the switch. So the machine learning is a technique wherein the machine learns over a period of time based on the inputs. In case of air conditioner, in addition to temperature sensor, you can add a humidity sensor also. with a water tank so that the humidity in the room is also maintained. Like that, you can improve the process of artificial intelligence in any system. Then we have deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, which uses neural networks with multiple layers, enabling advanced pattern recognition, such as image and speech understanding. Then we have the generative AI. It is a further subset focused on generating new content like text, images, audio, etc., rather than just analyzing the data. Then we have the large language model, which is a specific type of Gen AI designed to understand and generate human-like language. We also have the GPT. Everyone has used ChatGPT, my Copilot, etc. Right? So GPT is a family of large language models. It's a generative pre-trained transformer specialized in producing coherent text. It answers questions, it assists with reasoning and more. Then we have natural language processing, which is another subset related to understanding human language. This overlaps with LLMs as well as generative AI and includes traditional rule-based and statistical language processing techniques. So when it comes to Gen AI, which is most commonly used in the applications currently, it helps in summarizing, like condensing long documents into concise summaries. It also elaborates short content into more detailed explanations. And then in chatbots, it powers conversational assistants using chatbots. It identifies meaning, sentiment, or intent, and it also helps in transforming, that is, converting content from one format to another, like text to presentation image, or a PPT format, or an Excel format in case of calculations. So here, typical applications of AI include text, video, audio, code generation, and image generation. In fact, most of you may have heard that the latest is the vibe coding, which is available. We have some softwares available in vibe coding, wherein you can simply say what you want, and the product will be your program. You need not be an actual programmer to know software. You need not know software to become a programmer. In fact, people in Bangalore have a few startups wherein they simply go to a cafe during the weekends and then they try through vibe coding. There are some softwares like Cursor wherein you can simply say what you want. All these apps, like a few of the apps for grocery delivery and all are built like that. Within 2 days, the person uses Cursor or some other application and then makes the software. Monday it goes for testing and it is launched in a day or so. Then coming to different forms of artificial intelligence, we have the generative AI. Like most of you would have experienced generative AI. In case of your laptop, sometimes if your Excel or MS Office doesn't work and you try the help option, it simply says try restarting the app or reinstalling it. If that doesn't help, contact support. It's very quick and sounds plausible, but it doesn't know your specific situation. This is an example of generative AI. Then we have artificial intelligence agents. This version goes a step further. It pulls up your account, sees that a failed update occurred the previous night or today morning, and walks you through resetting the app. It gives you instructions to reset the app, and it might even trigger a backend fix on your behalf. It's context aware and can take basic actions, not just offer advice. Then we have the agentic artificial intelligence, which behaves like a proactive teammate, just like your buddy. It checks the logs, flags recurring issues, loops into other systems or agents. It talks to a friend if required, and follows up later to ensure resolution. It doesn't just respond to your query, it also investigates, learns, and coordinates. Then we have agentic RAG, retrieval augmented generation, which is an all-rounder. It pulls in real-time knowledge from help documents, technical logs, error databases, even product telemetry. Then it crafts a tailored step-by-step fix just for you. In simple terms, generative AI shares what it has already seen. AI agents will personalize and act. Agentic AI thinks, learns, and collaborates. Agentic RAG will research, reason, and solve with tools. Is it too much to observe? Any questions here?
Participants, you may post your questions in the question Q&A. If you are not able to access the chat, please post your question in Q&A. Madam, I don't think anyone has any questions right now. They have not posted anything in Q&A.
Okay, thank you so
You may
much.
continue.
Yeah. This is the last theory part which I'm going to explain. The next slides, a few slides will be on the practical applications. Coming to generative AI techniques, we have the evolutionary generative algorithms. These simulate evolution, mutation, crossover, selection to generate optimum designs. And a few examples for this are design of lightweight components in automotive or aerospace, optimization of layouts for plants and warehouses, aerodynamics shapes for drones or vehicles, design of heat exchanger design improvements. Then we have the GANs, the generative adversarial networks. GANs work on the principle that it uses two networks. One network generates the content and the other checks if it is realistic. This is basically used to generate realistic synthetic data for engineering tools, aiding innovation and optimization of design. The most common example that we use, like even kids use this colorizing of old photos, generating realistic faces, clothing designs, architecture concepts, producing simulated defect images for quality training. Then we have deep reinforcement learning. Here, artificial intelligence learns by trial and error method to generate optimal actions or designs. A few examples include robotic path planning, automated machine control, optimizing production parameters, and real-time energy load balancing. In addition to these Gen AI techniques, we also have transformer-based models, which is your GPT, Llama, etc. The diffusion models, which are used for marketing creatives, interior design, concept art for engineering prototypes. The variational autoencoders, which are used for compressing and reconstructing data. The parameter optimization models and automated design explorations. So the benefits of generative AI and evolutionary generative algorithms accelerate innovations, enhance performance, and promote sustainability in equipment design across industries. So in case of fault detection and in manufacturing, there are multiple steps which have to be followed, including problem identification, data acquisition, training the model, detection and diagnosis, early intervention, and continuous improvement. This is one of the software which TC has developed. Here we have a AI-driven solution for analyzing internal cracking, strain localization, and failure mechanism in concrete during the building construction. It can also be used for medical X-rays, for creating a report of medical X-rays, or it can also be used for detecting steel defects such as inclusions, blisters, cracks, etc. The idea is you can just feed in the scanned copy of the X-ray into the software and you get the report immediately. In case you go to a doctor or to an expert, it takes a hell lot of time, maybe minimum of 1 or 2 days. Whereas here you get within fraction of minutes. The benefit is time efficiency, improved accuracy, cost saving, and operational efficiency. I'll be showing some actual demo slides of this application which we have made. Then leveraging AI for performance optimization. Artificial intelligence has evolved from being a technology enabler to becoming a strategic driver of performance excellence across industrial operations. By integrating predictive analytics, intelligent design optimization, real-time quality management, strategic planning, energy performance, risk mitigation, and operator efficiency, AI empowers organizations to achieve significant improvements in productivity, cost reduction, and overall operational flexibility. See, in case of predictive analytics and forecasting, AI-driven predictive analytics enables to move from reactive to proactive decision making. Like in our school, when the teacher used to give our take classes, like if you have any doubts, you ask the doubts and get it cleared. That is called a reactive response. Whereas if you have already studied the chapter at home before the previous day and you come prepared with what queries you have to ask your teacher, that is referred to as a proactive response. The predictive analytics helps in reactive and proactive decision making also because already you have the enormous database within the system. And machine learning models can analyze these historical and real-time data to anticipate equipment failures, process deviations, and demand fluctuations. Predictive maintenance minimizes the downtime of the equipment or the plant by alerting the teams much before the failures occur, reducing both repair costs and production costs. Artificial intelligence is redefining performance optimization by enabling organizations to operate with greater intelligence because you have large amount of data from which you can derive what could be the most optimum solution to be followed, agility and improved efficiency. By integrating predictive analytics and the optimization tools, AI delivers a transformative value across the enterprise. This is one of the predictive maintenance software for rotary equipment using AI techniques. This is basically used for rotating equipment like compressors or motors, wherein as day-to-day example of this application is your mixer. In case you overload the mixer, there will be an overload light blinking on your screen of the mixer, and then you try to reduce the load on the mixer. Similarly, if the motor gets overheated, there will be a message that there is an error. You have to stop the machine for some time, allow it to cool, and then reuse the machine. The same analogy is applied to rotating equipment in a larger scale. In case of rotating equipment, generally we have vibration sensors which let the people know in case the vibration of the machine is too high because of continuous usage, or if the temperature of the motor goes high due to continuous use, or there could also be reduction in cooling because of non-availability of loop oil in case the system is cooled using loop oil system. So all these sensors will give an input to the control system or the artificial intelligence implemented control system, and just before the temperature reaches the threshold limit, it gives a message to the user that the temperature is going high to please stop the machine. So in case of artificial intelligence, what happens is use a combination of multiple sensors to improve the operational efficiency in a plant. If the equipment keeps on running, even if the temperature is high and the vibrations are high, the first thing that could happen is the equipment could fail. If the equipment fails and there are no other safeguards in the same pipeline, the entire pipeline could be damaged, further leading to the plant shutdown also. In case the plant shuts down, it's a large revenue loss for the owner. And sometimes it could, if the temperature goes very high, it could lead to a fire breakout also, which can lead to loss of life, which is a very important parameter because everything can be lost, but people's life matter the most. So predictive maintenance system using AI techniques also is very important to ensure the safety of the plant as well as run the plant very efficiently. In fact, these softwares, in addition, when they're connected to the control system, we have a lot of softwares and wireless systems through which we can get this data on the mobile. Like generally, this data is available with the CEO of the organization or the director of the organization, wherein he can see what is happening in the plant and take immediate action and instruct people to leave the plant or to do the maintenance of the equipment, etc. Any doubts?
Students, you have any doubts, you can ask. You can unmute yourself and ask. I don't think they have any doubts.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Coming to operational enhancement, it is not only limited to plant, whether it's a power plant or a refinery. It is also applicable for organizations like TC. In fact, we have our own in-house software developed on Gen AI, wherein I was talking about Tech Hive previously. It is applicable not only to engineering field, but also to other fields like HR, finance, etc. Similar to ChatGPT, we just have to key in what data we want and the data will appear on my screen. And since this is offline and on-premise architecture, we don't have the problem that there could be a cyber attack or someone could take away our data, or data theft is not a problem in this issue because it's all available offline and on-premise architecture. This done using RAG, retrieval augmented generation, to generate a more accurate context-aware search result. And this software uses the data available in our organization, which is consolidated for the last 60 years. The advantages is data privacy and security, improved productivity because we have all in-house data available to any employee. Like engineers will have access to all engineering data, HR team will have access to HR data, and so on. And then, as I told, contextual search across engineering, HR, finance, and corporate data. It streamlines workflows across departments and it is cost efficient and time saving also. Cost efficient since the solution operates offline, it reduces dependency on external cloud service and cutting costs associated with third-party storage processing. Time efficient since I need not go and ask someone else and wait for the reply. Everything is available to me online. Then we have the piping and instrumentation diagram automation tool. This is basically used for revamp projects. Like assume that we have a 80-year-old refinery which was built. During that time, there were AutoCAD drawings and the hard copies might not be available. Now, using this AI-driven P&ID automation tool, what we can do is we can use multiple techniques. If the hard copy is available, then we can simply insert the P&ID image into the software. It will generate a beautiful AutoCAD drawing, and the same can be reused for making any corrections. Like if you want to replace a control valve, temperature instrument, or a pressure instrument, or in case you want to do some simulation, like in case you want to increase the capacity of the plant and need to check whether the pipeline size is okay or not okay. You can use these generated AutoCAD drawings to do all that. This document uses advanced image processing, computer vision, and machine learning techniques, and it enables improved accuracy, automation, and efficiency in design and maintenance workflows. So, see, it's very difficult to reproduce the same drawing again and again. It involves a lot of time. Instead of that, you can simply scan the image and get an output. One more advantage is since you are scanning the same drawing, you need not recheck manually whether the person has reproduced the same image or not. It's since it is automatic, so whatever is here, the same replica will appear here. Then we have single line diagrams automation design, wherein you might have seen the electric circuit in your house. Like from the energy meter, the cable will come inside your house. You'll have some multi-circuit breakers, MCBs or switches, and each switch will be connected to one consumer in the house. In large scale, in industrial plants, this system will include a lot of multi-circuit breakers, MCCBs, isolators, etc. And it takes a lot of time in generating because each circuit has to be isolated from the other while designing this. Using this software, you can simply key in the voltage, the frequency, and the number of feeders, that is the end consumers who need to use this. If you key in the basic data, you get a beautiful single line diagram, which starts with it tells 230 volt AC 50 Hertz feeder. Then this is coming down and it is connected to the light of your house in the room, in the hall, then the connection to your AC and so on, with all the switches and isolators and other components. It's a complex drawing. Here it is shown in a very simplified form. Here for this software, we have used the same YOLO V8 and YOLO V8 and image processing tools for this also. And we need to also select whether it's a single bus, a dual bus, or a triple bus based on project requirement. Other details are self-explanatory. The benefits include time efficiency, error reduction, cost saving, and improved collaboration. We need not do all this manually. we get the output from the system once we enter the input and the output parameters. That is the only thing we need to enter. In case of energy optimization, we have a plethora of artificial intelligence tools which enable cost saving, improve sustainability, enhance reliability, and enable data-driven decision making. Then when it comes to energy optimization in industrial furnaces by leveraging artificial intelligence, a typical example is automation of gas consumption prediction. Here, if you see here, you have multiple screens on your system. Here you have the estimated gas consumption shown in the form of a table. And here a predictive model is developed to forecast the gas consumption based on the temperature data across different heat zones, optimizing energy use. So once this predictive model identifies the discrepancies between the actual and the predicted gas consumption and to detect anomalies and improve the furnace performance. Here, this is basically applicable for industrial plants and is very useful for industrial plant managers, process engineers, energy analysts responsible for the furnace operations. By using this predictive model, you can modulate the amount of gas which enters the furnace using a control valve assembly. This model can also integrate with industrial monitoring systems for automated anomaly detection, and it has wide applications relying on furnaces such as steel manufacturing, glass production, and cement processing. And salient features of this industrial tool is it's a user-friendly interface. Like you can have intuitive dashboards also. Like in case the temperature is currently 40 degrees and it becomes 50, what will happen? You can simulate on your screen and try to modulate the control valve and give the command from the control system to the control valve to either open or close to maintain the temperature. And this AI-based prediction model uses advanced machine learning models for accurate gas consumption forecasting also. It helps in buying the gas required for the plant. The challenges are the variability in furnace operations. See, furnaces may not operate the same way always. It depends on the material and erosion over a period of time, how the material properties affect the gas consumption patterns. And then there is real-time data handling also, which because I'll be processing large volumes of temperature and gas data in real time. And this system has to be integrated with legacy systems at times, because if you are using multiple furnaces in the plant, one furnace may behave in some way and the other furnace may be behaving in a different way. This integration needs to be done in case we have multiple plants. The solution for all the above problems is to have an advanced predictive model which automates anomaly detection and gives prescriptive recommendations suggesting corrective actions based on identified inefficiencies. So the advantages are the efficiency of the furnace improves because we are optimizing gas consumption. There'll be an error reduction also because it minimizes human error in furnace operation, and there'll be cost saving and improved decision making. Coming to your core subject of chemical process optimization, we have an AI tool too. The objective of using this artificial intelligence tool in chemical production is to optimize the overall production process by continuously monitoring and adjusting the critical process parameters like flow, temperature, pressure, level, and chemical concentrations. These AI models try to improve the efficiency and maintain the product quality in a consistent way and increase the yield by making real-time adjustments based on the input sensor data, like a pressure transmitter, temperature transmitter, or it could be a pH analyzer also. Additionally, these systems seek to minimize waste by fine-tuning the process, reducing the consumption of raw materials, and ensuring that the production remains within optimum conditions. Here, the scope of this system is real-time data monitoring. This AI continuously analyzes the sensor data and it keeps on monitoring to assess and adjust the production process. Based on the real-time data, we need to automatically control the process. It adjusts the critical parameters like pressure, temperature, and flow rate to ensure optimal conditions for chemical reactions. And then we have the predictive modeling. This AI will predict the effect of various input changes, whether it is pressure, temperature, level, or chemical composition, enabling proactive adjustment and avoiding potential issues before they arise. And then it doesn't stop with predictive modeling, it does continuous optimization and fine tune so that we get the right product quality and the quantity. The salient features of this include real-time data monitoring and predictive monitoring. And challenges again here are data and system integration when it comes to combination with multiple plants, sensor accuracy, the sensors, the pressure, temperature sensors and flow sensors should be calibrated from time to time based on the manufacturer's recommendation. And the person or the AI tool should be fine-tuned periodically also, depending on the product quality and the quantity, manually, initially at least. The solutions for this application are advanced AI algorithms with seamless integration and predictive maintenance and training programs for the operators of the plant. The benefits of chemical process optimization includes enhanced efficiency and consistent quality, cost saving and reduction in downtime of the plant. I think this class was discussed in detail by one of the environmental lectures. This environmental emission control using AI is possible by optimizing the production process to minimize the energy usage and emissions. In this case, we need to continuously monitor the pollutant levels, whether it is carbon monoxide, NOx, SOx, etc. in real or mercury in real time across various manufacturing units. And then using the predictive AI model, the emission trends could be identified for potential compliance issues with the Central Pollution Control Board or the local state board, because each of them would have set a limit that this plant can emit only this amount of CO or SOx or NOx. And these sensors, in fact, are connected to the CPCB and the State Pollution Board directly, and they'll be monitoring online. So in this case, we need to be really careful, otherwise the plant license will be taken away. The environmental impact and emissions control plays a very important role in industrial plants. This AI uses real-time emission monitoring, predictive analysis, automated reporting. And then here the challenges are data overload, because the plant will be continuously emitting. Data overload is a very challenging feature because of this we need to have like a bigger hard disk or a considerable amount of storage drives. The integration issues are there here also, and the accuracy of predictions. These analyzes the continuous emission monitoring system analysis, whether it's SOX, NOx, CO, or oxygen analyzer, it should be periodically calibrated. And the selection of the analyzer types also plays a very important role here. Using this tool, we have benefits like enhanced compliance to the regulatory boards, increased operational efficiency, and sustainability progress tracking. In case of supply chain optimization, AI is crucial in optimizing the supply chains. By leveraging machine learning and optimization algorithms, companies can analyze historical data, demand patterns of the product, the market trends, and make accurate forecasts, streamline the inventory management also. Because in case your inventory, you have too much of inventory in the plant, also you won't have enough space to store it. Or if you don't have any inventory, you won't be able to supply the end product to the user. So inventory management is very important. And using these AI tools, we can make accurate forecast as to what will be required in the market and maintain the inventory and enhance the logistic operations also, which results in improved delivery times, reduced costs, and customer satisfaction. This is a snapshot of an AI tool which is used for raw material demand analysis, which I explained in the previous slide. The 4 pillars of AI strategy include AI vision, which is to increase the revenue, create greater customer engagement, reduce cost, and improve productivity. And by adopting AI, like there are many use cases based on business impact and feasibility. What problem? Who is beneficiary and user? What business process will be impacted? And how the impact will be measured. Before introducing any artificial intelligence to any of your systems, all these have to be studied. Then we need to experiment first. Like we need to review a few use cases, skills, data, and AI technology implementation for a similar case. Feasibility is very important than business value in use cases. We need to know what is the technical internal skill and external regulation, social acceptance, external infrastructure available for implementation of the AI. Then the data strategy, which affects the feasibility of AI projects. Then coming to value of AI. See, most of the organizations or applications are moving towards artificial intelligence. So the first thing that has to be done is to remove barrier to capture AI's value effectively, prepare for potential disruption to existing business models, strategies, and process. Then Gen AI is something like a disruption to people. Like in case you want to implement anything new, there'll be resistance. So first you'll have to familiarize people with what exactly you're doing, how it benefits them. Then only people will start valuing the artificial intelligence tool also. There are a few risks associated with artificial intelligence like regulatory compliances, reputational. Like in case someone gives you a software, you'll just not start using it. You could wait or you'll try to find out whether it's a reputed software. Like right now we have MS Excel, MS Word, MS Office in our laptops. If someone all of a sudden comes and tells you use my software, this is far better. No one will accept it easily until and unless you have a reference and you know one more person will already use the software. So the reputation also plays a very important role. And then we have the competencies. AI requires unique skills and can be sourced externally or through upskilling. Coming to industrial artificial intelligence applications. These are basically used in smart manufacturing, digital twins, data analysis and predictive maintenance, supply chain optimization, quality control, and defect detection. Just give me a minute, I'll have some water. Yeah, thank you. Industrial engineering plays a very vital role in improving the industrial process and increasing the efficiency and productivity. With advancing technology, AI is increasingly becoming a transformative force in industrial engineering. In case of smart manufacturing, it uses machine learning and other AI technologies to optimize and automate the process within the manufacturing facilities. This can lead to increased productivity, quality control, reduced waste, and more efficient operations. In case of industrial digital AI digital twins, these are virtual replicas of physical industrial assets or systems which leverage artificial intelligence to optimize the performance. For example, in your plant, you're producing a product and the efficiency is 38%, for example, and you want to increase it to 40%. So using AI model, the digital twin model, which is a theoretical model, you can try to modulate the parameters until the efficiency of the output increases to 40%. So this can be done using the digital twins. They integrate real-time data with simulations. You can always connect this to your regular control system, which is being continuously run in the industry, and take online data and try to simulate. Singapore is recognized as the first country for creating this the digital twin of an entire nation using Bentley tools to transform their GIS, LIDAR, and imagery into reality measures and infrastructure models. So when Singapore has made a digital twin of the entire city to improve to optimize the space, the construction, the infrastructure, etc. This can be very well applied to the industrial applications also. We already have digital twin technology in healthcare, predictive analytics, the solar plant PV maintenance, etc. When it comes to data analysis and predictive maintenance, these are the most critical applications of AI in industrial engineering. These intelligent systems can use machine learning techniques to analyze vast amounts of data, extract patterns, identify significant trends, and provide recommendations for maintenance before failures occur. This information can be utilized to optimize resource planning, predict failures, and improve production schedules, resulting in increased efficiency and cost reduction. It helps organizations avoid unplanned production downtime, reduce maintenance cost, and prolong the lifespan of the equipment. In case of supply chain optimization, AI is crucial in optimizing supply chains in industrial engineering. By leveraging machine learning and optimization algorithms, companies can analyze historical data, demand patterns, and market trends to make accurate forecasts, streamline inventory management, and enhance logistic operations. This results in improved delivery times, reduced cost, and better customer satisfaction. Coming to the last, quality control and defect detection. AI technologies mainly using computer vision and pattern recognition are employed in quality control and defect detection process. AI systems can analyze these visual data and identify defects or anomalies in products, ensuring high quality standards are met. This helps companies minimize product recalls, reduce waste, and enhance customer satisfaction. So this I've already explained to you what is the role of AI in defect detection. This is one of the applications which I explained earlier. This is the application home tool for defect detection tool. This uses AI-powered image analysis to detect critical anomalies in X-rays, basically. Or it also finds defects in steel surfaces for quality control in manufacturing. Using CNN and YOLO V8, we have developed this tool. See, ensuring product quality is of paramount importance in industries such as construction, manufacturing, and healthcare. Sometimes manual inspection methods are often very time consuming, subjective, and it could also be prone to human error. However, recent advancements in computer vision, particularly with deep learning models like CNN and object detection frameworks like YOLO V8, have revolutionized and automated detection of defects in various materials and medical images. This use case demonstrates the deployment of AI-driven solutions for analyzing internal cracks, localizing strains, and identifying structural and surface defects in concrete, steel, and medical X-rays. This is the case of concrete damage analysis. Here we have used XCT imaging and advanced computer techniques to analyze the internal cracks, strain localization, etc. You can see the various pictures which are XCT imaging of the concrete. When this scanned image is fed into the software, we get the report which gives exactly what is happened within the system. Key insights are internal damage, which is influenced by mesoscale heterogeneity and non-uniform confinement. There is strain localization patterns, which reveal failure mechanisms critical to structural analysis. Here you can find these strain localized strains also here. See, once you enter those drawings into the software, you get an output image here. It shows the defective area in green color. It analyzes the X-ray CT images to detect the pores. It identifies and measures. It gives the dimension also. You can see in the report here, defect name, what is the defect, type of defect, location, X, Y, and the area of the defect. This is the input for a steel defect detection. This is the output, which shows cracks, holes, and fraying also in the steel plates. It tells very clearly whether it's a crack or a fray or a hole. So the report is something like this: the location, the defect name, and the area. This is for human X-rays. These are the input files. This is the image, which gives a heat map of the X-ray also, and it also gives an output and indicates whether there is a fracture and at what location and what is the size of the fracture. These are the various steps followed for developing this AI tool. The first was data collection, image enhancement and augmentation, model testing, image annotation, model training, and then deployment. When it comes to P&ID automation, which I've explained briefly, I have a few slides here. It's an end-to-end automated P&ID solution. So first we create the dataset and we need to load the P&ID images for processing. And then once the P&ID images are processed, we get a screenshot. The history page appears like this. And then once the drawing is generated, we get a CAD output similar to the screen. We have further augmented this tool by using trying to extract a bill of quantity from the piping and instrumentation diagram. Like in the piping and instrumentation diagram, we select an area and try to get what all components here are located in this part of the drawing and what is the quantity here automatically without doing any manual work. This also is being done right now. And in addition, we have a lot of AI-based digital point solutions for power plants, like coal inventory management and optimization, boiler modeling and performance optimization, power cycle chemistry monitoring and diagnosis, condenser performance and monitoring, cooling tower performance enhancement, pump performance monitoring and diagnosis, transformer performance monitoring, switchgear health monitoring. We have remote energy analytics, solar power forecasting and diagnosis. A few snapshots are shown here of the screens developed from our AI tool. And this concludes my session. And thank you for your time. And any queries, please feel free to put in the chat box.
So students, if you have any questions, doubts, you can ask. You can ask. I will unmute you. You can unmute yourself and ask. Just a minute. Or you can post your query in the Q&A. Any questions from the students or faculty?
Hello.
Speak. Talk. Not audible. Talk. Not audible. Who was talking? It is not audible. You can post in the Q&A. That is easier. No, any question? Any doubt? No?
Everything is understood or nothing is understood? If no doubts.
Students or faculty, if you have any doubt, any questions, you can ask. No doubts? I think Not many doubts. Sir is asking a question here. Okay, I will read that. Sir has posted in the chat. I'll read that.
Sure.
In the emissions, how the data is used? That is his question.
Okay. Yeah. For example, in case I have my emissions are we have measurement of emission parameters like say sulfur dioxide, NO2 and oxygen. In case of environment pollution control board, they give us some specific task like SOx should be less than so much of ppm and so on. So my instrument will measure the amount of SOx, NOx and CO emitted by the plant, and then it gives a feedback to the control system within the plant. Based on the parameters, the designer will decide whether we have to add a flue gas desulfurization unit in case of the plant is emitting too much of SOx. To reduce the SOx level, we can introduce a flue gas desulfurization unit into the system. Or we can have a DNOx system in case the NOx level emitted is very high. In case of carbon monoxide, we can have oxygen trim control, which is done at the boiler level itself. So using multiple techniques within the process, using a chemical process technique, we try to reduce the emissions. That is how the data is used.
Another question by our student. How does AI help in predicting design failures before manufacturing?
I didn't get the query. Can you please repeat, sir?
How does AI help in predicting design failures before manufacturing?
Okay. Before manufacturing, for example, I have an assembly line. Okay. In case the product has to fail, there should be some anomaly in the production line itself. So the AI will keep checking the healthiness of the machines in the assembly line. If there is any fault in any machine along the assembly line, it gives an alarm immediately telling that this machine has fault. So please stop the production at this point and then correct the problem and then continue with the production line. That's how we can correct the anomalies in the production line and the product quality also. In case of manufacturing industry, in case of a chemical industry, you can manipulate the variables like the flow temperature or level or humidity or even the concentration of the acids, etc., so that you get the optimized product output. Because you keep measuring these parameters in between wherever at critical points. So you get those feedback. Based on the feedback, you moderate and manipulate using controls and quantity.
Madam, this AI is used for making PID, PFD and line diagrams. So will this affect recruitment of the draftsmen and engineers, the design companies?
Yeah, this is a very valid question. Yes, definitely this will affect the people to some extent, but what I was thinking is like, okay, the basic drawing is done, but if you want to implement something advanced in the system, still intelligent people will be required in the organization. Our knowledge should not be limited only for making a PNID or a PFD or a single line diagram. We should think much beyond that, like increasing the efficiency, process optimization, how to get the maximum benefit out of what I'm doing. So that way still engineers will be required in the industry. A simple example which I was telling for 12th standard students was like, one guy was telling like AI will affect us. We have so many things now. I told him, think of a simple chaiwala on the road. Okay, he's making tea, he's having some people to help him around, and that is his daily bread and butter. Fine. So in case I have a machine now. Everywhere we see machines, coffee vending machines, tea vending machines. So obviously that person loses his business, but in case he educates himself a little bit as to how to operate the machine, how to use the machine, he can put a multiple machines in multiple places. Instead of having business in one place, he can put the vending machine in 7-8 places, simply go and monitor in between and make more money. So it's up to us how to use AI more effectively to our benefit.
Okay, madam. Any other questions which student have? Yeah, just a minute.
Yeah.
It is continuation of the same question.
Yeah.
What sir has asked the complete question is, it is actually you already answered the question.
Okay.
Students, if you have any question, I don't think there are many questions. So thank you very much for excellent lecture given by Lata madam. And thanks to all the participants who listened to the lectures carefully. I think most of the terminologies were beyond their grasping because they are chemical engineering students and the terminologies are slightly different for them, AI terminologies.
Okay.
We are just,
So that's why I started with the basics. I was wondering whether to explain them or not, but then I thought I'll brush up the basics a bit.
yes, they will now get used to the new terms slowly. So
Okay.
once they know it, then when they will join the company, at that time AI will be already implemented. Most of the, I think it will be implemented.
Yeah, it's growing like anything. Like, yeah.
Like the industry people give 2 or 3 years maximum. So is there any role of the chemical engineers in writing these algorithms?
So definitely, because see, AI is a tool. Like I told, there is something called vibe coding now. It has a lot of like there are plenty of tools available even in the internet, wherein you can simply tell what code you want. Like to buy this grocery, I want this, or to what should be the combination. If I put H2SO4 plus HCl plus H2O, what will happen? You tell me what will happen. Like that, there are so many tools which can do the programming part, but human intelligence is definitely required to say what will be the final product. So chemical engineers can definitely do a lot of simulations using these AI tools. You need not know the software per se 100%. A little bit of knowledge is sufficient, but you can achieve a lot. You can do a lot of automation. Like one of the work which we do, which chemical engineers do, is this cause and effect list, the AZUP study, if you heard of it. So this was being done manually earlier. Now all these tools are automated. So it helps you instead of reading one P&ID, AZUP studying one P&ID in 4 hours, you can complete the work in 1 hour. So such tools can be developed by chemical engineers. There is plenty of opportunity for chemical engineers, in fact. Like earlier, we used to have Perry's Chemical Handbook. That was a textbook sort of thing. This can be automated so that you can get the value online immediately whenever you want in a fraction of a second instead of going through the whole thousands of pages.
So any other doubt or question our students have? No? So madam, shall we end? So madam,
Yeah,
shall
thank
we
you
end?
so much.
I will end the session. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you to all the
Thank you, sir.
faculty and
Thank
students.
you.
It was a nice session. So I will end the meeting now. So and we will again join in the evening session. Okay. Dr. Nimish sir will give the evening session.